Okay, so this is the review on the Neverending story, which was actually written back in 1979 by famous author Michael Ende. And I have to say, this is a pretty good book, even though it's all right near the end. But no, I could say it's worth reading. You can check it out at your local library. So, Neverending Story by Michael Ende, and it was translated into a film by up and coming director Wolfgang Petersen back in 1984, surprisingly the year I was born. And this is the movie that the book is based off of. So the premise pretty much goes is that a young boy one day is on his way to school and he's being chased by bullies, and he gets chased into a library to somehow hide from them. I don't know why I say somehow. And he comes across the man who's in charge of the bookstore, Mr. Corianders, and from there the boy discovers a book called The Neverending Story that he's never read before, because this boy is totally enchanted with books. Whenever he wants to spend his alone time, he always has his head in a book. And of course, the boy's name is Bastian Balthazar Bucks. And in the movie, he's played by the past young actor Barrett Oliver. So when he goes into the library, he steals the book from Mr. Corianders and goes to his elementary school, which of course he is late for school because the bullies got through chasing him down the street. But he doesn't want. But of course he just wants to read the book. Doesn't want to put up with class, so he goes up to the school attic, opens up the book, and from there, the book opens him into an amazing world called Fantasia. And of course, the characters, which is one of them here, is the rock biter, and also the little man with his racing snail, and the night hob. Yes, just show you right there, and he discovers that the world of Fantasia is in danger, and that these beings are on a quest to the capital called the Ivory Tower to seek this Empress to save them from this mysterious enormous villain called the Nothing. But unfortunately, as Bastian is reading this, he doesn't even realize that that somehow he's becoming part of the story himself. Which will be quite scary in real life. But of course, it's just a movie and in the book. So they summon this warrior whose name is Atreyu from these people from the other part of our Fantasia called the Plains people, kind of like the Native Americans here in America. They summon into the Ivory Tower and they send him on a quest. And Bastian is totally invested in this story. He doesn't want to stop reading it. So Atreyu is on his quest to find a cure for the Empress and to save Fantasia, along with his horse Artex. But little does he know that somewhere else in Fantasia there's a mysterious mist. Of course, in the book, back in the book by Michael Ende, according to this, there's a mysterious mist that forms into the shape of a werewolf, and the werewolf's called the Gamork, and he goes on his own quest to find Atreyu and kill him. But in the movie, he goes to. They just zoom into a cave that is all dark. And of course, one of my most frightening moments in the history of cinema. The Gamork opens his shining yellow eyes, the lightning flashes, and he goes out to track down Atreyu and Architects. Along the way, Atreyu and Architects come across the swamps of sadness. He runs away. He somehow lose. Of course. According to the book, said they go in through the swamps of sadness. Of course, in the movie they said anybody knows that whoever lets its sadness overtake them will sink into the swamp, and that's how he loses Artex. Artex just somehow gives up hope, and Atreyu just loses it. He's like, "No, you're my friend. I won't leave you." And of course, Artex sinks into the swamp. So he goes to find this mysterious place in the swamp called Shell Mountain, which is the home of Morla, the gigantic turtle. Of course, the wisest being in all Fantasia. But it turns out, oops, the turtle does not have the answers that he's looking for. But he can access this being's called the Southern Oracle, but he's too far. And of course, it cuts back to Bastion. So who hears the school bell, but he doesn't want to go home. He just likes the story too much. He goes into his attic. He gets freaked out by the objects around him, but he continues to read the story. Now Atreyu is trying his best, and he's just in the part where the Gmork the wolf is racing through the swamp trying to get to Atreyu. But what's different from the book is that through this beautiful cinematography. So the luck dragon Falkor comes out. Is actually a dragon called a luck dragon named Falkor, comes out of the sky and comes down and rescues him from the Gmork. Now, what's different about this in the book is that so he goes into this place called the Dead Mountains, this great valley called the Dead Mountains after the Swamp of Sadness, and he finds Falkor tied up in a spider web and a mysterious being. That was of course was in the book. The being that he comes across that Artax is I'm not saying Artax. That Falkor is trapped in this mysterious being that he comes across is a giant spider called Iguarmal the Many. But of course they had to cut that out of the movie because for time and money, and they didn't have the technology back at that time. And if anybody has ever seen the movie The Matrix Revolutions. So when Neo comes to the machine gun and the machines come out and form a face which begins speaking to Neo, that's kind of similar to what Iguarmal was, the giant spider was like. Like dozens of flying creatures come out like a swarm of bees, and they form a giant spider and start speaking to Atreyu. But of course that was cut out of the movie for time. Atreyu finally reaches the Southern Oracle after passing through two gates, the Sphinxes, the Magic Mirror, which of course still frightens me till this day. and he finally comes to the Southern Oracle. The Oracle starts crumbling, but the Oracle tells him the Empress needs a new name, and he tells him the only way to get that is to find a human child. It's like, wait, what? How do I find a human child? And of course, the Oracle starts falling apart. He runs away. They go, and then after that, they run into a storm, and Atreyu loses Falkor. Atreyu runs into the Gmork, and then the world gets destroyed. Go to the Empress, and I can pretty much talk on and on about this. But let's just say in the end it results to a happy ending, even though it's not entirely the book. And that's where the Neverending Story Part 2 and Part 3, which I dread to mention because that movie should not even exist. The first half of the book is mostly based off of the movie. But what I can say is that compared to 1984 to now, the effects still hold up pretty well. Unlike all the kinds of CGI and computer-generated imagery that's just jump onto the screen, just dumped here and there that we're all getting sick of, tired of into this moment, and 3D, oh my gosh. But that's why I'm really glad about these movies, is that they still hold up to this some of their effects, practical effects, not before computers, still hold up pretty doggone well to this day. Yes, and I must say, even though this movie is not awesome-tacular like a Jeremy Johns says, but I say I'm glad to have it in my collection. It's one of the very first movies that I've seen when I was very young, and I'm still glad to have it. So, I recommend the Neverending Story. It's definitely better than some of those modern fantasy films that are out right now. Which I must say, some of the fantasy films out there are not bad, but I will just say that the Neverending Story definitely is something that shouldn't be missed. So that is my review, and I'll catch you later.